Hello, and welcome back to my Caliente Kitchen. Today I am very excited because I have a special guest. I met Tracy at our national conference for dietetics this last, I think it was October, and at a cocktail party actually. We became friends, and then I have become her mentor ever since. She's gonna be a future registered dietitian. Tracy is a nutritionist right now. She got her bachelor's in nutrition, and she advocates for her peers with disabilities. Tracy, how are you?
I'm doing fine today, Manuel. Thank you for having me.
Of course. By the way, happy Earth Day.
Yes, happy Earth Day.
Yes. Well, actually, speaking of Earth Day, today we have a recipe that is actually earth-friendly as well, right?
Yes.
All right. Well,
because it's spring rice.
That's right.
It's got a lot of canned vegetables and frozen vegetables as well.
Exactly. Well, we're gonna get into that too soon, Tracy, because I know you have amazing tips for families and people with disabilities and their nutrition, and I can't wait till we get into that. But today we're making a delicious recipe. It's called spring rice, and actually we're gonna talk about the meat options too as well. And but let's start with the recipe. Are you ready, Tracy?
Yes.
All right. So by the way, this recipe she shared it with me, and I'm making it today. We're gonna start with olive oil. We put about a tablespoon there. Also, they're good source of antioxidants, especially like lycopene, and especially lycopene is high the bioavailability of lycopene is better when it comes from cans because the heating process helps this antioxidant to get absorbed. Now, here's another good fact about lycopene. When you mix it with fat, especially oils, as we did here, actually you can help the lycopene to be absorbed better because lycopene is a fat-soluble phytonutrient antioxidant. All right, so then once we heat up the canned tomatoes, we're actually going to use frozen brown rice. Now, Tracy, I have a question for you about canned tomatoes and frozen brown rice for people with disabilities. So what do you suggest? I mean, can they open a can? I was questioning that myself.
Well, usually if the can's got the ability to have the pop top.
Yes.
Yeah, that's easier. But if you need to use a can opener, then that would probably need some assistance from a family member or a caregiver.
That's right. Now, how about scissors and opening a frozen bag, or any bag with scissors? What do you suggest?
Well, I would say I can personally use scissors, but that's because I have good hand control, but it all depends on the individual and how their disability impacts them.
Interesting. So it's individualized then, the recommendations that we're given today.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, well, since we like to use vegetables, let's continue with the recipe now. And this recipe, actually, I tried over the weekend. It came out really good. So Tracy, thank you for sharing the recipe, by the way. But we're gonna use frozen vegetables, and then continue mixing these things. And then finally, I'm sure the recipe card will show anytime here, we're gonna add the seasonings. This recipe is super easy to make, especially nowadays, since fresh may not be around too much, fresh vegetables or food in general, canned and frozen are as nutritious as fresh. So we add sea salt, then we add some cumin. I love that you use cumin, by the way. So then black pepper and oregano. Fantastic. And then we just continue mixing these, and this will be done in no time. So I'm going to ask you a few more questions, Tracy.
Yes.
So I'm gonna pull out the chicken out of the refrigerator because I bought chicken that is refrigerated to taste this. So hold on one second here. So tell me about the options that people can use when the protein options that people can use for eating your spring rice. Talk to us about this.
Well, you could, if you're vegetarian, you could use hard-boiled eggs that are already peeled. You can purchase hard-boiled eggs that are already peeled from the grocery store, or
You're right.
you can use tofu, or even cannellini beans or black beans for the protein. But if you prefer chicken, you can use chicken strips.
Yeah, like these packages, right? That already comes on the strips.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show that cut. Yeah. So question for you, Tracy. So what about rotisserie chicken? Why? I mean, I know you recommended me to buy strips for the show, but then I was thinking, what about rotisserie? Can we recommend rotisserie chicken for people with disabilities?
Actually, knowing from personal experience, those of us with disabilities might be accident prone due to our balance. So we don't want to really make a mess in the kitchen. So rotisserie chicken might be a little bit too messy
I see.
to pull apart.
Interesting. You see, I'm glad you actually helping so many people. Tracy, so tell us what else you do for work aside from being an advocate for your peers with disabilities.
Well, I contribute to a online magazine called Push Living in terms of nutrition topics, and I'm also an ambassador for Abilities Expo Chicago, and I've spoken on a variety of nutrition topics at 2 of their shows, 2 summers in a row.
Wow, you're keeping yourself busy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, let's tell me a little bit about now some general tips you have in nutrition in regards of frozen foods, fiber. I want to know about the fiber. You were telling me about fiber and how that is so critical for your peers.
Well, of course, fiber is critical in terms of reducing the risk of diabetes and heart disease, but also for my peers with disabilities, it also helps us manage our constipation risk.
I see. Well, that's because you're not moving much?
Yes.
That lack of movement.
Even though some of us might be wheelchair athletes, we still move less than our non-disabled peers who are athletes.
Yes. Well, I love that you said disabled athletes. That's amazing. So, all right. So now tell us a little about frozen vegetables and how can that help? Why you went all canned and frozen? What is the purpose of that?
Because frozen does not require as much cutting and preparation before you cook it, and canned helps that as well, that you do not need to be at the stove as long if everything's canned and frozen, because some people are afraid to use the stove and start their cooking journey if they're starting out at an inaccessible kitchen to their needs, because some people, unfortunately, they may live in an accessible house, but their kitchens may not be accessible to their needs.
I see. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So it sounds like the less work that you do in the kitchen, the better it will be. And of course, as we know now, frozen vegetables and canned foods are as nutritious as fresh. And that's, if anything, this quarantine time have taught us. And we have been telling people that. I have been telling people that for years now. But you know, finally people were ready to hear more about frozen foods and canned foods and how nutritious they are. And to be honest, let's talk about a little bit of less waste. I mean, when you buy frozen fruits and vegetables and canned food, you end up wasting less food, right, Tracy?
Yes. As long as you don't keep the frozen fruits and vegetables in there longer than 3 months.
In the freezer, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And by the way, you know, I know you were telling me early, Manuel, please, it's my first live ever, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, well, you did amazingly today. You did very, very well. And congratulations for your first live, Tracy.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Of course, you did amazing. Well, let's do some tasting. How about that? I want to taste this again. And I have my plate here. And hold on one second, because I love this. It's so healthy, so nutritious, and using a lot of vegetables, and it's all plants. And you can pair it with the protein option that you like. You also a chef, Tracy?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
It tastes really good.
Thank you.
And it's so easy. I mean, this recipe is for anyone, to be honest with you, because it's so easy. Uses a lot of vegetables, very much a lot of colors. And we like colors because you get many antioxidants and phytonutrients. This is really a winner of a recipe for sure. Well, if you like to find me on social media, I am in many different channels in both English and Spanish, by the way. Estoy en español también en los canales con mi rinconcito sabroso. Anyways, so I normally like to hang out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Some Twitter sometimes, but mainly on those 3 channels. And if you need to learn more about myself or what I do, you can visit manuelvillacorta.com. All right, well, thank you for being on the show today. Tracy, thank you for being here today with me and sharing your expertise in nutrition. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye now. Bye, Tracy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.